All right. Good evening, everyone. JP here. Hope you're all doing well. Excuse the lighting. I'm actually doing this call all the way from Joburg. I'm up here for some meetings and obviously got a training on Saturday. So just a little bit about myself. I've obviously been part of Manitech and this incredible technology for more than 12 years. I've just seen so many incredible miracles for people that have been taking this product. And I think one of the very, very important things about this evening is to really debunk the myth that, you just take the supplements and you can just sort of do whatever you want and you're going to be healthy forever. And I think for me, the one thing I've realized is that this is really about intelligent supplementation. It's about making a lifestyle change and really just realizing that, when you look at your body's been designed to heal and restore itself. And really what Manitech products do is really giving your body all the right nutrients so the body can really heal and restore itself. So just a quick note is that Manitech products do not cure or treat or mitigate any diseases. It's really about allowing the body to heal and restore itself. And I'm obviously exceptionally excited this evening to have Dr. Grietjie Strydom who's going to share on the call this evening. And she's going to be covering, just some questions that I've obviously got from some of you, which I'll be going through. One thing I can share about Grietjie, she's got a massive heart for other people, for helping people. And I've obviously just been, chatting to her this morning on the way to Joburg, just chatting a little bit about what do people need to know more about. And I think I don't have to mention to any of you on the call this evening that I think, in fact, I was reading in the Business Insider the other day where people now actually since, this whole lockdown and COVID are now they actually feel that their wellness and their health is actually more important than their finances. And I think, if it's one thing to go by, I think all of us have realized that, your health is without a doubt is a massive investment. And I think very often people haven't really seen it as an investment. We sort of see it, we sort of just take it for granted, and, and I know that the call we did about 4 weeks ago, we had such amazing response from a lot of the people that were on that call, just, sharing, when we had some pharmacists share, we had some doctors share, some physios, some kinesiologists, and just realizing that, that there's such a change happening in the world at the moment with people wanting, better solutions, not only for themselves, but also for the kids, because in the end of the day, to be a better dad, to be a better mom, to be a better grandma or grandfather, it's that you need your health, you need your energy. And I think, for me, that's really what Manitech offers people is intelligent supplementation. It's real food technology. And it's something that's patented, it's proprietary, it's something that makes such a massive impact on other people's lives. So this is not just another product. This is really a pot of gold that we've got in our hands. And it's really it's really been gifted to us to really go out there and go and share with as many people as we can. So I'm going to ask Grietjie to maybe just put her camera on, and hopefully it's going to work. I'm going to try and pin her video. Hopefully you can have both of us on. Okay, awesome. Grietjie, you look lovely tonight. I like your nice paintings in the background there.
Thank you very much, JP.
Yeah, awesome, man. And you've obviously just moved to Durban now. So how's that treating you?
Yeah, it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Ballito is unbelievable. It's like the place I'm staying is like a game farm by the sea. It's it's really amazing. I live in Zimbiti Eco Estate, and it's just wonderful to be out in the country and, just appreciate nature, and being able to work from home and, do everything online is unbelievable. The Manitech business has been really, really great for that. So yes, I'm looking forward to tonight.
Oh, awesome, man.
I want to see what questions you're going to throw my way.
Okay, cool. Well, we there's some. I don't think there's any questions you haven't heard before. But I think for me, the first question this is my question. I was thinking this morning. I was in the Uber on my way to the airport, and I was writing down some questions. And I think the first thing for me is like, why did you decide to become a medical doctor? Obviously, if people on the call don't know that you're a medical doctor. I know you qualified in Bloemfontein, some years ago. Maybe just share with everyone a little bit of background about yourself. Like, why did you actually decide to become a medical doctor? Is it something in the family? Was it just that you always had a heart to help people? How did that sort of come about?
Yeah. So thank you very much, JP. And also I must thank you as our leader. I mean, you've done an amazing job by leading this team of people so very well. And I also want to thank Irene de Pree, because if Irene didn't introduce me to the products a couple of years ago, I would never have heard of Manitech, and I wouldn't have known anything about glycans or cellular communication or anything like that, because I would have just been stuck in the medical way of thinking. which is not necessarily the wrong way of thinking, but it is a little bit misleading, because people think that doctors treat diseases, but they're actually symptomatically giving you medication to take your symptoms away, because most diseases have an origin somewhere in your lifestyle, in the things that you do on a daily basis. And I didn't understand that either. Even when I started studying medicine, I was interested in the human body, and I was interested in healing people. I was interested in how everything works and so on. And I must say, from that point of view, having studied medicine was really very fortuitous for me to be able to really understand anatomy and pathology. You do an intensive training in that. It's not superficial like you get with some of the alternative studies. So but I really wanted to help people, and I started studying medicine, thinking that one day I'm going to open a practice, and I'm going to help people get healthy, and so on. And really, all I ended up was giving people medication for their symptoms, and it really started frustrating me, even at that time, that I wasn't able to actually really help people properly. I mean, if you talk about acute medicine, yes, you do immediately help people acutely, but chronically, there's no answer really in just using medicines to take symptoms away. One has to look at the root cause of diseases, which are rooted in our lifestyle, and part of our lifestyle is our nutrition. And that's where you actually get the answers to how to treat these diseases, is to actually look at people's lifestyles and to say, today we lack the certain amounts of nutrients that we actually need on a daily basis. We just don't get it from our diet anymore, for various reasons. And I think that a lot of people don't quite understand that, all these nutritional building blocks. And I think that if people started to understand it better, they'll have more insight into why must they maintain it properly, and why must they make sure that they don't get into a depleted state, and why must they make sure that they keep on supplementing. Because a lot of people would say to me, how long should I take these supplements for? And my answer is, how long do you want to feel good? Because the minute you don't take the supplements, you're going to be in a state of lack, and you're going to be depleted, and you're going to start having symptoms, and you can start getting ill. So it's just a matter of time. There are lots of young people on the call tonight. I'm sure they have no symptoms. I think they, the younger you are, probably the less you know how these things are going to work out. But as you age, every year you'll get some sort of symptoms that are telling you that things are not 100% right. And you sort of wave it off and wave it off and wave it off and don't pay attention to it. And then it hits you in the form of like a serious condition. Like, if you're a sports person, you would get a tendon or a muscle injury that doesn't want to heal. And you think it's the injury. It's not the injury. Your body's supposed to heal itself. You heal a broken arm in 6 weeks. Why can you not heal a tendon or a muscle injury? And the reason for that is that we are depleted in the nutrients that we require to be able to do the healing. That's the problem. And if only people would understand that those are all symptoms of future health challenges, then, I think they'll be more inclined to actually take personal responsibility and make sure that they take the right nutrition.
I just want to quickly ask you a question. I'm not sure if you've ever had this question before, but, I know obviously with health and wellness and so forth, the one part obviously is without a doubt your lifestyle. How much do you think genetics have got to, what role do you think genetics have got to play from a percentage point of view in someone's wellness?
JP, genetics play a role in conditions like Down syndrome and so on, where you're born with a specific genetic condition, which is already, like a chromosome defect or whatever. All of us have got genetic imperfections, every single one of us. We're born with a genetic code. It's like a light circuit. And whatever you do in your life, in fact, what your grandmother did in her life affects whether that genetic circuit gets turned on or not. The reason why I'm saying your grandmother is that people need to understand that you were basically an ovum in your mother's body when she was a fetus in your grandmother. So what your grandmother drank and ate and thought and did actually affected you. and it affected your genetic code going forward. So you know, it's a circuit, it's a light circuit, and you turn that switch on or you turn it off. Now, at the age of 54, I decided to turn that light switch off, you know, because my genetics were going in one direction and one direction only, and that was downhill. And I became incredibly ill myself. And that's how I got onto integrative health and how I got to Manatech, because I was searching for a specific product which I couldn't find in South Africa, which was GI Pro Balance, a pre and probiotic powder. Actually, it wasn't, I didn't know it was GI Pro Balance. And then I got introduced to the Manatech GI Pro Balance. And from there, I started studying glycans and started studying natural nutrition and so on. And so it's really taken me on a journey to understand how people's decisions influence their genetic expression. So to the extent that I'm studying nutrigenomics and epigenetics and so on, which means that what you put in your mouth can actually change the expression of your genes. So genetics do play a role, but they play a very minor role if you take charge from the beginning. The problem is that by the time you're symptomatic, you're 36 or 35 or 40 or 54 like me, and to then try and change your life is very hard. So therefore, every one of you that's still, you know, young people on the call and don't have symptoms, don't believe it's not going to happen to you. You need to understand that you need to direct your genetic expression, because every one of us have got genetic imperfections. And every one of us will become ill if we don't give our bodies the right nutrition.
Wow. And, you know, just quickly on that point, like I remember once going to talk with you in Bedfordview at Manatech House, and you're speaking specifically about different types of nutrients. And I remember the talk on the micronutrients and macronutrients, and just sort of how glycans obviously fit into that. So can you maybe just elaborate a little bit more about that?
100%. So we have got different nutritional classes of things that we have to take in on a daily basis. So you have macronutrients, which are proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. And that gives you basically the energy that you need. And obviously proteins are very important for, you know, for building tissue and building muscle and so on. And carbohydrates are very important for your general energy and, you know, expenditure and so on. And then fats are important for things like brain function and for joint lubrication and so on. So if you lack any of those macronutrients, you're already going to have quite serious health challenges. But our problem in our diet today is not that the macronutrients are lacking, but that they're poor quality. So, or they're affected by hormones, you know, like cows and so on, they get given hormones and antibiotics and that kind of stuff. So that affects us. But it's not that we're nutritionally challenged in terms of lack of kilojoules. I mean, all of us get enough kilojoules. And you can see that by the way some people are built. They get a lot of kilojoules. But the problem is that they don't get enough of the micronutrients. The micronutrients are vitamins and minerals. And glycans, although they don't necessarily fall in that class because they haven't been defined as such, are an additional class of nutrients. Now, it's very important for people on the call also to understand that glycans are not a replacement for vitamin A, B, C, D, and so on. Just like vitamin A is not a replacement for vitamin C. So a lot of people would ask me, but which one of these must I take? You know, and my answer is you need to take a multivitamin that covers all of the vitamins and minerals that you require. There are about 27 that are absolutely crucial for health on a daily basis, 27 vitamins and minerals. And the important thing to understand is that if any one of those vitamins are lacking, it also has a knock-on effect on all the other vitamins, because vitamins and minerals work collaboratively together. They work in whole food complexes. And that's why your body also has to take in the supplementation in a whole food complex and not in some chemical form where it's been fractionated, split out, you know, reattached to something, chemically changed. And your body cannot absorb it and it can't use it and it can't recognize it because it's completely foreign to it. And that is why other companies have to, or chemical companies that make chemical vitamins in particular, have to super dose all of it. That's why they say to you, you need to take 5,000 milligrams of vitamin C on a daily basis. The actual real nutritional need for a human being is 88 milligrams of vitamin C on a daily basis, but it has to be super bioavailable vitamin C, which is in a real food format. And it has to come in a food complex so that you don't have just a bottle of vitamin C. None of Manatech products are a vitamin C, a vitamin A, a vitamin E, or vitamin B or whatever. It's food complexes. So when you look at the nutrition, although they tell you how much of everything is in the bottle, it doesn't mean those things have been fractionated out. They are in whole food complexes. And this is the real food technology that we talk about with Manatech. And it makes it 100% bioavailable. It means that everything that you take in, you can use. So in terms of the micronutrients, if you lack micronutrients, then it also has a knock-on effect on your gut health. So if you don't have zinc in your body, then you can't absorb certain nutrients. If you don't have iron, you can't absorb certain things. If you don't have vitamin C, you can't absorb iron. So all of these things play a role. So there is not one vitamin that you've got to take. You've got to take a multivitamin complex, which is in a real food format. So that's vitamins and minerals. And then the next class is then glycans. Now, glycans were actually discovered by Manatech. And Manatech actually technically did the formulation to get glycans in a food complex which is stable. Because what happens with glycans, and in particular you see that in aloe, if you cut an aloe, within hours it's oxidated and you can't use it. So when people went to war and they used aloe in the old days and even in the biblical days, and they used it as a curative substance, they used to travel with an aloe plant, and then they used to cut the leaves as they needed it, because that was the only way to keep the aloe fresh. Now, what Manatech's done is they've got a way to actually take out the aloe, the mannose, out of the ace-mannan actually, out of the aloe plant and stabilize it without affecting it or changing it chemically, which is absolutely amazing, which means that you really get 100% bioavailable component which you can take. Because as you're aware, there are thousands of aloe products, but they're not equal, because their bioavailability and the way that your body can use them is not the same as with the Manatech products. So the glycans are very important. And then there's another class which we can't really call a nutrient, but it's an incredibly important component of what you take in on a daily basis, is actually probiotics, pre and probiotics. Now, pre and probiotics actually are essential for you because on a daily basis, we kill our good gut bacteria. So I think most of you must have heard about gut bacteria and how important it is. So the gut bacteria that live in your gut, you've got over 100 trillion gut bacteria that live in your gut. And if you think, contextualize that, you have 35 trillion cells in your body, but you've got over 100 trillion gut bacteria that live in your gut that actually dictate what your brain thinks, dictates what your gut takes up in terms of nutrition, and dictates your immune system. So those gut bacteria are actually ruling your life. If your child's behavior at the age of 2 starts going strange, and the child throws terrible temper tantrums and so on, it's a change in the child's gut bacteria, because he's eating different food, he's drinking tap water, which kills his good gut bacteria, he's probably eating too many sweets, everything changes, maybe too many processed foods. And suddenly the child's gut bacteria changes and the child starts throwing temper tantrums. The problem is that the child doesn't have enough good gut bacteria. And that actually directs how many neurotransmitters, which types of neurotransmitters get secreted. And that works on the brain, on the child's brain function. And that's why if you have a child with behavioral disorders, you give them GI ProBalance, they improve within days. Within days, you can see the difference. In fact, I've seen the difference in hours. So it's really important to understand that if you don't have pre and probiotics, none of the nutrients are absorbed properly in your gut. So every day on a daily basis, you have to take in probiotics. And then obviously the next class of nutrition, which is critically important, is water. People do not take in enough water. Now, Manatech's not going to sell you water You know, you have to understand that you need to drink, huge amounts of water. And I would say that every single person on this call, if they tomorrow start by drinking 750 milliliters of filtered room temperature water the minute they wake up in the morning, they are going to infinitely improve their health immediately, because you improve your detoxification, you improve your energy levels, you improve your cognitive function, you improve everything by drinking 750 mils of water, as soon as you wake up in the morning. So water is incredibly important. I mean, 80% of people that suffer from headaches are actually dehydrated. You know, so if you think about painkillers get sold for headaches, and people are just dehydrated. They're just not drinking enough water. So we need to look after our bodies on a daily basis, the way that we look after our cars. If your car's light goes on, you make sure you get to the garage. If the petrol tank is empty, you make sure you fill it up. And you don't fill up a petrol car with diesel, you fill it up with the right fuel. So why are we not eating the right fuel for our bodies? You know, it's ridiculous to think that people would spend more time and attention and money on their cars than they would on their vehicle. The only vehicle you have is your body for the rest of your life. You only have one. You're never ever going to get another one. You can always buy another car, but you're never going to get another body. And the time to look after it is now. And we just don't get enough vitamins and minerals through the food that we eat because of green harvesting, pesticides, chemicals, and so on. So, guys, it's your personal responsibility to make sure. Don't think that Woolworths are looking after your interests, okay, in terms of your health. Woolworths are looking after their own pockets. That's why they're putting sugar in everything. So you need to read the labels. You need to check what you're eating. You need to take responsibility. But Manatech can help you 85% of the way by giving you the right supplementation on a daily basis. And as long as you don't do other ridiculous things like only eat McDonald's and drink Coca-Cola, it's going to really serve you greatly by just taking the products on a daily basis.
Wow. Dr. Grietjie, I mean, I can just tell you from all the comments and everything, it's just incredible all the knowledge you've been sharing so far. I mean, we've got over 430 people on the call. And I know there's loads of people that obviously couldn't make it, so we are recording it. And but the one thing I also just want to share with you, I think it's also about habit. Like, I remember the first time when you started talking to me about having water, it's like become a habit for me where the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is I've got a sort of like a filtered tap there, and like I have like, 2 big glasses of water. And I think one of the other things that's also really important about that is that you also mentioned is obviously that it helps flush out your liver and your kidneys and everything like that, which is so important just from a detoxification point of view, and just to really hydrate your cells and everything. So thanks so much for sharing that. And something I also find a lot of people constantly ask is like, a lot of people got this perception that, do you need to be supplementing? Aren't we getting everything we should be getting in the modern day diet? A lot of doctors and people say it's just expensive urine, and you can actually get all your nutrients through eating, just buying your veggies from Woolworths and so forth. And I think, if you look at all the studies, I mean, you can obviously elaborate on this, but if you look at all the studies, is we're not getting the nutrients we should be from a recommended daily allowance. It's actually been declining constantly over the last 50 years. So some people still, have that perception that you can get everything from the modern day diet, and can you maybe just shed some light on that?
Okay, so firstly, I mean, the studies are there. So if anybody bothers to read the studies or bothers to do a search, you'll see that the food does not have the required amounts of supplementation that we need. If you bother to read, you also read things like, if you buy prepackaged salad leaves from any supplier like Woolworths or Pick n Pay or Checkers or whatever, that there's more than 5 times the allowed amount of chlorine that they allow in tap water. More than 5 times that allowed amount is on the leaves of those plants that we are buying on a daily basis and ingesting. So, and not only are we not getting the required nutrients we're also getting a whole host of other things in. And the doctors are not telling you that either. So the doctor doesn't tell you that you need supplementation. The doctor doesn't tell you that you shouldn't be eating McDonald's. And the doctor also doesn't tell you, what all the other chemicals and so on do to damage your body. So don't rely on your doctor for nutritional information. There I was, medical doctor, finished studying, and my knowledge of nutrition was so poor that I actually got myself sick because of bad nutrition. If I now say it was not my genetic expression that was at fault, it was what I was doing to my body, what I was putting into my mouth. Now, I also want to ask you, those same doctors that are saying you should not supplement, I really want to question you guys. What does that doctor look like? Is that doctor healthy? Have you actually gone to a doctor and actually asked yourself, should I follow this person's advice? Is this person an example of a healthy living person? Or should I not be just like researching a little bit further and making sure that I'm doing the right thing? Because if you did your own research, you'll see that our food does not contain the amounts of supplementation, amounts of vitamins and minerals that we need, and we do need to supplement. The question is, what do we need to supplement with? We need to supplement with food that's correctly grown. Now, fortunately, Manatech gives us the food that's correctly grown in a powder or a pill form. That's what we need to do. So it's food that's correctly grown in a powder or a pill form. It's not a chemical. It's not some funny manufactured thing that's made out of petroleum byproducts and coal tar derivatives and iron filings and limestone, ground up limestone. It's actual food that they've just put into a powder or a pill format. And that is a huge difference. So the bioavailability is so good that there is no expensive urine because you're not going to excessively dose. There's no super dosing. You only get expensive urine when you have chemical vitamins and supplements, and you have to superdose in order for your body to actually absorb some of it. And you still urinate out a lot of it. So superdosing is not a good idea because that has its own complications. Superdosing with vitamins and minerals that contain chemicals make you sick because there's chemicals in there. And I did that myself. For more than 15 years. I took chemical supplements. It did nothing for me. It made me more and more ill. As I went on, I just got more and more ill until I decided to cut all chemical stuff and only take the Manatech supplements. That is when I started getting healthy.
Grietjie, just on that, I mean, obviously you mentioned earlier, like, talking about being overweight and so forth. I mean, if you just look at like the chronic conditions that are associated with things like stroke and cancer and diabetes and high blood pressure and all these things. I mean, I'm not sure if this is going to put you on the spot or anything, but I mean, if the people on the call here, I mean, I remember the first time I met you, I still remember it was actually quite close here at the Eastgate, the first time I went to have a meeting with you and Nicolette, and we just spoke a little bit about Manatech and the products and everything. I mean, it's like, if I had to show someone a before, like, and after, I mean, you honestly look like 10 years younger or even 15 years younger. I mean, you had like this radical transformation from changing your lifestyle and changing your diet. And, and I also want to just mention to people, it's not just taking the Manatech product. I think that's really part of the puzzle, but it's also about changing other areas of your life as well, that makes a big impact. And I think you are a massive testament to that, because you obviously have to be a product of your product. And something you just shared now is so true. Very often you go to your doctor, but you're more healthy than your doctor, and I'm busy reading a book now called How Not to Die. And literally this doctor who wrote the book, he's talking specifically about, that there's almost 16,000 new clinical trials that are published every single year. A doctor does not have the time to go and read through every single clinical trial there is. So it's much easier for doctors just to say, oh no, don't take it, or, I'm not familiar with it, than to actually do the due diligence. Actually, let me go and read the clinical trial that Manatech might have done on their Ambritos or on their, some of their sports products, or, their whatever product it may be. And I think for me, that's something that really is so important, is that people realize out there is that, your doctor doesn't have all the answers, because remember, doctors don't really get taught nutrition, and it's sort of, it's actually sad, but I mean, I remember, it's really this thing about, if we don't look after our diets, eventually, you are going to have to go to the doctor. But the problem is that the lifestyle that you add to that is so important, because but most people out there is like, you get a condition or you don't feel well, you go to the doctor, they give you something to take the condition away, and no one actually goes back and says, why do I have this condition? I mean, is it something I could have changed in my lifestyle? And I love the new sort of the new wave, if I can call it a new philosophy of this thing of integrative healthcare, and saying, there are going to be times when someone has to go on medication, but there are also going to be times when someone might not need to go to medication, because it's very, very easy for doctors to prescribe medication. And I think maybe, just from your point of view, how do you how do you feel about that?
Yeah, JP, integrative health is obviously the way to go. Look, you've got to understand that doctors, number one, are not taught nutrition. It's not part of their syllabus. Number two, doctors are actually taught by pharmaceutical companies. When you actually take a closer look at it, the pharmaceutical companies drive the training at medical facilities. Number three, all the CPD points, all the continuing professional development points that a doctor gets, is they get it through attending CPD units, CPD lectures. And the CPD lectures are normally put up by pharmaceutical firms. So you go there to go and learn the latest about blood pressure. But all you're learning is what's the latest medication for blood pressure. There's not one of those clinical trials that they'll put up that says there's an association with your lifestyle and your blood pressure, because there's no money in that. There's only money in making tablets for the pharmaceutical firms. And they put up the money for this CPD training. And therefore, they actually direct that training. And it's really important not to hold your doctor responsible, for your lifestyle. You're responsible for your lifestyle. You need to educate yourself and understand that a doctor didn't get any lifestyle training. He wasn't trained to tell you to run or to exercise or to drink water or to eat healthy food or, stuff like that, or not to be stressed or, to have positive thinking and all that kind. He wasn't trained. Whereas an integrative health doctor has got training specifically that has to do with exactly how your body and your mind and your thinking patterns actually work together to harmonize your body and to bring your body into homeostasis. And your thinking is as important as your drinking or your eating. So I always say to patients, everything you eat, everything you drink, everything you do, and everything you think will either heal you or harm you. Oh. Now, if you think about that, you may say to me, yeah, but what about something that's neutral like water? Water's not neutral. It's going to either heal you or harm you. If it's good quality water, it's going to heal you. If it's bad quality water, it's going to harm you. And you may not see the harm now. It's a little bit like the slight edge, where you have little bits of small changes over time, either brings you to a positive place or to a negative place. And things that you think also influence your health. If you have negative thinking about a healthy lifestyle, you're going to have serious trouble with your health in the future. Because if you have negative thinking about needing to lead a healthy lifestyle, it's going to catch up with you at the end of the day. So what you're thinking is critically important. And therefore, it's very important for you to say, I am personally responsible, and I'm going to do the very best that I can. I'm going to eat the best food that I can, plus I'm going to supplement, I'm going to drink my water, I'm going to make sure that I'm not that stressed, I'm going to hang around with positive people so that I don't have negative thinking. And when you do your part, then everything just falls into place. And that is what integrative health is about. Integrative health is about leading a person to discover themselves, their own responsibility around their health, so that they can make the best informed decision for them. I've had patients that have been able to tell me without any tests exactly what foodstuffs they're sensitive or allergic to, because they know. When they've eaten it, they immediately get a reaction. But you've got to be in touch with your body to be able to do that. You can't eat just a mishmash of things that have been prepared for you. If you either only eat at restaurants, or you eat takeaway foods, or you eat pre-prepared food, packaged foods from Woolies or whatever that you just stick in the oven, you have no idea what's in that food. So you wouldn't know whether there's gluten in there, whether there's sugar in there that's affecting, whether it's dairy or what it is. It's when you start paying attention to your body that you start recognizing the symptoms and you start saying, okay, well, you know, me for now, I shouldn't be eating eggs. You know, I should be avoiding certain things. You become in touch with your body. And that's one of the things that the Manatech supplements do, because they bring your body in homeostasis. When you have certain nutritional lacks, like if you're lacking vitamin C, for example, you can have sugar cravings. So you're craving sugar. You think you're craving sugar. Your body's actually just asking for a damn orange. You know, if there was only enough vitamin C in the orange, your body just wants the vitamin and the mineral, and you're feeding it sugar because that's the craving that you're getting. When you have cravings and you find it difficult to like stick to a balanced diet and so on, it's because of nutritional deficiencies. And so as you become in touch with your body, you understand these things and you can actually make changes. But it takes a huge amount of personal responsibility, JP. A person has to say, me am responsible. I'm going to read the labels. I'm not going to, because people have green in their label, believe it's a good food. You know, if it says you know, that it's healthy, whatever, I'm still going to read the label. And that's the important thing.
Yeah, and I think just quickly on that, I think that's a big confusion very often with the Manatech products, because very often people look at the Manatech products and they almost like think it's like they treat it as if it's a pharmaceutical drug. Like, what do I give for this? What do I give for this? And it's not. It's really just fruits and vegetables, and it's just what you should be getting in the modern day diet. But we sort of think of it as like a doctor would to, okay, someone's got high blood pressure or cholesterol, so they need to take this product. And I mean, that's sometimes where the confusion comes, because that's sometimes actually, to be honest with everyone on the call, why sometimes people believe it's almost impossible these products can be so amazing, because how can a food, but actually if you go back, you can think about it, it's actually our bodies were designed to have foods, fruits and vegetables, and you know, whole foods, and you know, we it's got phytonutrients and everything. And I think that's the big confusion, is that Manatech, where people look at Manatech products as if it's a pharmaceutical drug, and it's not. It's a food. It's a food supplement.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that is difficult. And you find the same with certain doctors that are now not the traditional medical doctors, and also not quite an integrative health doctor. They call themselves functional medical doctors. And what they do is that they also treat people diseases with high dose supplementation. So you would go to one of those doctors and they'd say, oh, well, you need mega doses of vitamin C, or you mega doses of this, or mega doses of that. And that's also not the type of medicine that I practice, because the type of medicine that I practice basically says that from normal food, you should be getting everything that you need. Yes, you have to correct your lack, but you can't correct it overnight by mega dosing. Okay, you have to just start eating the right amounts, and eventually your body will store it, and then you'll have the right amounts. Okay. Now, it is also important for people to understand that if you are in a period of heavy stress, or you become very ill or whatever, that you actually do need more supplements. Okay, because your body uses more. In a stress situation, your body uses a lot of vitamins and minerals, and you actually need a lot more. So there is a place for us to actually double or treble even the Manatech products that we actually tell people to use. So the maintenance dose is what's on the pack. But if a person has a serious health challenge, you may tell them to take double or triple what's on the pack, because they have a lack because of the situation that they're in. So there's a difference between trying to recover a situation, you know, where you have to do it quite quickly if a person is ill. So as an example, if a person's got COVID, you're going to quadruple some of the products. You're literally going to say to
quickly, sorry, just I'm interrupting you, but on with something like COVID, like immune system, which products do you recommend, like specifically? That's actually one of the questions, like which products do you recommend someone should be on?
Most certainly Ambritose. And Ambritose, they should take 4 times a day. Okay, so they take 1 scoop 4 times a day. And I would go with complex, because COVID is an very inflammatory disease, and that's why you get those microcoagulations or microclots because of inflammation. So you need to use Ambritose complex, because it's, you know, very good for anti-inflammatory situations. Then you also need your highest quality vitamins and minerals that you can get, which is Catalyst. You need to take Catalyst, but at the normal dose. You definitely need to take plus, to calm down your endocrine system and everything, because everything goes out of kilter with COVID. You need to take an antioxidant. So the Amritose and OSP pack is a great pack for that, but you have to add GI Pro Balance. Omega-3, you're going to double or treble your omega-3 depending on the amount of inflammation that you've got. So if you've got symptoms, you're going to double your omega-3. If you're really ill, you're going to treble your omega-3. Omega-3 is very anti-inflammatory, so it helps a huge amount. And then one of the very best things that we've got actually for COVID is Immunostart, which people have to take on an hourly basis until they're over the worst of the virus. And it's amazing for helping people overcome, the whole viral attack on their body. And then also Cardio Balance and Bounce Back. So it sounds like a huge amount, but it's really critical that they take that for the period of the time that they're ill. Cardio Balance they have to take because of microcoagulations that people get, microclots that they get with COVID. So Cardio Balance would help to mitigate that. And then and also Cardio Balance you can take and double the dose. If you're in that position where you are starting to feel really ill, you're going to take it and double the dose. And then Bounce Back is also very, very anti-inflammatory. So a very good product is Bounce Back. For people with all the muscle pains and so on that people get when they really are ill. But I seriously would say that the core 6 products are critically important, and then you can add Cardio Balance, Immunostart, and Bounce Back.
Just quickly, I want to sort of finish in the next 5 minutes or so, just from a time point of view. Sort of with people that are taking like chronic medication and so forth, like what are some of the products you need to be wary of? I know, for instance, with Cardio Balance, if someone is already taking a blood thinning medication, perhaps even too much omega could potentially thin blood. Is there any products that you think you should sort of be wary of if you are looking at the Manatech product range, if someone is on chronic medication?
What I say to people, because I get a lot of that, I mean, most of the people that I see are on chronic medications, and then I tell them to use the Manatech products, and then their doctors push back on it because they say, it's going to interfere with your medication that you've got. Now, the biggest concern is the warfarin. If people are on warfarin or Clexane or one of the anticoagulants that people have when they've had a stroke or they've had blood clots or something. My concern is the following: warfarin is rat poison. Okay, so if we are saying that omega-3 thins the blood, why are we using warfarin to thin the blood? Why are we not using omega-3? And if the omega-3 is going to thin the blood more, why don't you reduce the warfarin? Why must we take the omega-3 away? Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. So what I say to people is just make sure that you monitor your blood clotting. They have to go every month anyway for a blood test to see whether the warfarin dose is correct. Okay, because warfarin also builds up in your body, and it is a poison. I mean, it's a rat poison. So if it kills a rat, it's definitely going to do something to you over time. Yeah. So,
Grietjie, sorry, man. I just Googled that now. Actually, I'm here on one of the medical director things here, and actually, because I was thinking, how can it like really be rat poison? But actually, if you go on the internet and you actually go look in there, it actually says without a doubt, there is warfarin in rat poison, but it is now declining. They are using less of it.
Yeah, so they're using other poisons now. You'll find out the other poison is some other form of poison. So
it's just crazy to think.
So what I say to people is just be sensible about this. Take your medication the doctor gives you. Start using the Manatech products, but monitor everything. Monitor your blood pressure. Monitor that blood, the blood test that you need to do for that, because you also find that your blood pressure lowers when you take Manatech products. So if you're on blood pressure medication, high doses, the Manatech products are going to reduce your blood pressure. Now, can I ask you something? Is there any sense in staying on a high dose of blood pressure medication and taking away the Manatech products? There's no sense in that. It doesn't make any sense. What's sensible is take the Manatech products, and if your blood pressure goes lower, lower your blood pressure medication. Reduce your blood pressure medication. And you can always go to your doctor and say, I've measured my blood pressure over the last month, and because of my lifestyle changes, it's really improved. You don't have to tell the doctor that you're taking Manatech products, because he doesn't know the difference between chemical supplements and food and Manatech products, which are food. So when people say to me, can I take Manatech products? I say, best thing is ask your doctor if you can take broccoli. You can eat broccoli, cauliflower, kale, spinach, cherries, blueberries, strawberries, you name it. And if he says yes, of course, that's food, then you can take Manatech. Okay,
yeah,
that
on
is
that
the
note,
bottom line.
Yeah, just quickly on that point, it's the same with, if you're taking omega-3, it's the same as you saying to your doctor, I'm eating a lot of anchovy and salmon and fish and so forth. So it's pretty much the same thing.
You just tell the doctor that you're doing lifestyle changes. That's
Oh,
all.
awesome, man. So just quickly, just something I've got 2 more questions. The one is, how long do some people get to start taking Manatech products and instantaneously they feel better, they can feel such a drastic improvement, and then some people don't get those results straight away. I mean, the first question is why, and then what would you say? I mean, obviously, for me, I share with most of my customers that cells take around 90 days to become what they call glycosylated, which is where the glycans actually form around the cells, which is what the ambitose does. So 90 days is always the optimal sort of time to take it. But I mean, certain people take products and literally within 2 weeks, like for instance with my mother, like within 2 weeks she could feel a massive difference. I see it with a lot of other clients of mine, and some people don't really feel such a big difference. And then some people don't really feel a difference when they go off the product. Then they feel a massive, what a difference the product was actually making. So can you maybe just shed some light on that before I ask you the last question?
Okay, so obviously every person is different, and you don't know what's going on in your body. You may have a cancer that you don't know about, and your Manatech products are now going straight, to glycosylate everything, and your body is now trying to heal this cancer, and you have no idea about this. You're not healed yet. You're in a healing process. A healing process is a painful process. It's not a pleasant process, and people feel sick when you're in a healing process. And that is why you probably don't have a good result, immediately, because you may have huge amounts of inflammation. As I say, you may have an underlying cancer, you may have underlying parasitic infections, you may have underlying fungal infections, you may have things that you didn't even know you had. People come to me and they complain of brain fog, and I find out that they've got a candida infection or something else, and they didn't even know. They had no other symptoms other than the brain fog. Now the problem is that it takes time for your body to heal that, and every person's body is different, and it also depends on, as I said, everything you eat, everything you drink, everything you do, and everything you think will either heal you or harm you. Now, Manatech products also has a lot to do with belief. People have to understand and believe that they need to give it a try. They have to have some faith in it, and it's up to us as associates to explain to people that the products take a bit of time. And I think often we set the wrong expectation, because we've had one person that had radical results in a few days. We tell people that that's what the products do, and I think it's very important to set the correct expectations and make people understand that, as JP said, optimal time for cells to glycosylate is 90 days, and not look for the quick wins, because it's not going to serve Manatech or serve the individual or serve you or your business if you tell people it's going to immediately cure them or help them. So people are different, and I mean, doctors will also tell you people react differently on different medications as well. It's the same thing, but I think that one should also understand that people also go through a detoxification process when they start taking the products, because suddenly then your body has got the right nutrition to detoxify your body properly. And for a lot of people, that's not a very pleasant process. They have headaches for like 5 days and they don't feel too well. And you need to actually explain to them, that while your body's in a healing process, you're not going to feel 100% well, and you'll get through it and you'll get over it.
Yeah. Wow. No, that's been amazing so far. And I mean, just with what you were sharing now, I think for me, it's all about setting an expectation, with people is making people realize it's a lifestyle change, and for me, as the National Academy of Science has suggested that really that glycans are needed for every single function of the human body. So whether you physically feel a difference on the product or not, it is still working in your body. I mean, that's been proven through all the clinical trials that Manatech have done, So, so the other thing, just for me quickly, what I want to share with all of you in closing as a last question is just, where do you see health and wellness going, in the next sort of 5 years? Because I remember for me, when I just got involved with Manatech, I mean, it was a big industry, but it wasn't as massive as it is today. Because I think, a lot of people have realized now that, wellness is the next, it's the frontier. It's what you project out there. It's your skin. It's how you feel. It's your stress levels. It's all these different things. It's not just about fat loss or weight loss or skincare. It's much more than that. It's really about people doing everything that they can to live optimally and be vibrantly healthy. And I think, so where do you sort of see, this health and wellness industry going in the next sort of 5 to 10 years? Because I've no doubt that if more and more people look after their wellness, I mean, obviously, just, as a side note, I mean, I was talking to, quite a few, like, to my pediatrician, our pediatrician the other day, and she was saying it's amazing how a few kids have been coming into, since COVID, because they've all been at home, they're sanitizing and everything, are not really coming to the clinic, so it's quite interesting. So can you maybe just shed a bit of light on that in closing?
Okay, yeah, so JP, I mean, I see a huge swing to personal wellness. So in other words, me and you leading a more well and healthy lifestyle, using products like Manatech products, which are more natural products, to actually enhance our actual well-being. And as you said, it's not just about how you look. If you go now and just go on Netflix and look at how many movies there are about plant-based eating, how people are actually talking more and more and more about eating more plants. Now, if you look at Manatech products, they're probably 95% plant-based, I would guess. There is obviously the anchovies and the omega-3, and there's whey protein and the osolene protein. But for the most part, the products are plant-based because a human body actually needs plants to get its nutrition from. And that is one of the important things. If you look at the trends going forward, is people taking personal responsibility and saying, I want to eat plants. And that is why even Checkers today has got plant-based, starting to do plant-based foods and stuff like that. Everyone's moving in that direction. So people are, if you look at the number of gyms and the number of, now with COVID, it was a bit of a problem, but I mean, the number of people that are doing yoga, the number of people that are doing Pilates, if you compare that with even 10 years ago, there's been a huge upswing in people taking more personal responsibility for their well-being. And that's also why people are making the lifestyle changes, because they want to get away from the stress. So there's a huge amount of people that are working from home so that they can take their dog for a walk in the afternoon. They can go and play a round of golf or a bit of tennis or something, and have less of the stress of sitting in a car for an hour and a half on the way to work and an hour and a half back. So this whole move towards like lifestyle estates, gym memberships and more sport, like things like trail runs and mountain biking and that kind of stuff, is all pushing us in the direction of people taking more personal responsibility for their health and their well-being, and people wanting a more healthy lifestyle. So there's a definite upswing, and it's going to massively increase. And I'm telling you, we've got a young generation that's coming up now that literally are taking wellness to a new level, where they are not feeding their children the sweets and the stuff that we used to do, when our kids grew up, that they're not just having snacks to school every day that contain loads of sugar and stuff like that, that parents are actually making decent food and proper food for their kids. There's a huge big swing up into cooking at home. Young people actually, going very much into like veganism, cooking vegan food and so on. And I think that health and wellness is like, literally, I don't know, it's going to explode as an industry. It's going to explode absolutely as an industry. And I think Manatech is positioned so well for that, because our products are really just absolutely amazing to bring the body back into homeostasis. All our products work synergistically together. They don't oppose one another. They don't duplicate. They don't, you know, there's no overlap. If you take the products, you are really just getting the best of everything.
Oh, awesome, Grietjie. Yeah, that was really amazing. And, you know, just on that note as well, I mean, Manatech's not a one-product solution. I see it so often people go out there and they say, we've got this one berry or we've got this one sachet, just take this, it's going to do everything. But you can't possibly get all, you know, if you look at the human body, there's so many different systems in the body that need to have nutrition, that need to, you know, get nutrients and stuff. So I like the fact that Manatech is really intelligent supplementation. It's about looking at the different systems of the body and seeing how can you obviously best you know, you combine the different products we have to get the best result. And you know, and the one thing I definitely, just in closing, you know, I've realized, you know, that you know, that people that are, you know, maybe 20, 30, 40, 50 years old, when you got to 60 or 70, you know, you were, you know, people would sort of seem like you're old now, but it's not, because the people that are 60 today are like the people, like the people of 40s, you know, like the people that are in their 70s are like people in their 50s, because we're living a lot longer. And that's why people also want to make sure that if they are going to be living longer, you want to be making sure you're living optimally, because there's no point in becoming really old but you can't do anything, you know. Or so I think for me, it's such a, you know, it just goes like, you know, parallel to one another is your health. And obviously you want to live longer, but you want to be healthy and you want to have optimal wellness. So just in closing, thank you so much for the call this evening. I know we've gone a little bit over time, but I mean, I know there was over almost 450 people on the call here, and I know that all of them have really enjoyed it tremendously. And how amazing, you know, to be able to speak on a platform like this to people, you know, all over. I mean, we've got some people from America on, we've got some people from all over the world on. So brilliant. So thank you very much for you taking the time out, and for everyone that took the time out this evening to listen to the call. I really appreciate you guys, you know, logging in, and I've no doubt that it was a massive value. And yeah, let's go out there and go and change the world one scoop at a time. Thank you very much to everyone, and have a great week. And Grietjie, thanks again from me all the way to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, JP. Good night.
Cheers.